there. Because in PhilDev Foundation, it is actually a nonprofit organization that aims to enable success in universities, in entrepreneurs, so that we're able to alleviate poverty. Okay, we want to lessen poverty by hopefully developing more startups, improving the capacity of universities to enable innovation. So that's our work, and we've been doing this for the past 10 years as a foundation. In my case, I've been 1.5 years in the foundation, but of course the pandemic enabled me to be exposed in all the programs of PhilDev because of its more virtual way of rendering. Actually, hindi lang more virtual, purely virtual way of rendering its services. Okay, so let me now share my insights on co-creating a better future for education. All right, so I'll be sharing 3 insights. So this will be very quick. 3 insights that we have learned in PhilDev as we continue to conduct trainings on incubation management with universities around the Philippines. Also, working with the faculties so that they're able to render they're able to teach or actually run their courses in a way that the students are motivated to contribute to researches, to also make sure that the researches can be brought forward to actual implementation. Okay, so let me start with my first insight. All right. Ayun, nawala. Okay. Okay, so first insight is, okay, there. Schools are sources of well-researched ideas. This is very evident. We're talking about schools, that of course in the context of us being part of the education system, definitely we have been developing a lot of projects. I mean, students have activities that will enable them to not just develop outputs for them to meet the grade, but also outputs that are related to a specific problem in the society, be it a company problem, let's say a business case, or we're talking about an institutional concern, let's say a feasibility study, or if we talk about it in an experimental perspective, such as the sciences. Even the sciences, we actually base our projects in the context of what's happening outside. And when you talk about the context of outside, it's immediately outside our communities. So normally when we say business plans, we are creating business plans for a possible venture to be organized in Quezon City. Or let's say to actually measure the potability of the water, or the acidity rather of water in the community. We're talking about the acidity of water in, let's say, a community in Quezon City. So definitely, schools are places wherein we have researches that can be applied, okay, for in improving governance or as solutions, for community problems. So next. So to support this insight, okay, each academic unit can be consultants for improving local systems. If we look at it in a systemic approach, we can say that, okay, we only develop solutions because we want to meet the grade. And the highest ranked one will enable us to get an A. So that's a good goal, yes, for students. But if we extend it, so much so that the actual researches that are developed in classes as exercises can become platforms for consultancy. Because in the end of the day, the problems that are being solved by such researches can actually improve local systems. So let's say this pandemic, if we're talking about the future of education, I mean, how can we improve our virtual platforms? So let's say if we tap our computer engineers, computer scientists, if there are innovations that can make it easier, for students to learn, to actually have to communicate and to collaborate, why not apply it? Why not apply it directly given the local context? So there's so much potential for consultancy. And maybe it will eventually empower students as well, because they see themselves as mere students, but in the end of the day, they can already be experts in the field. They might have yet to complete a degree, but as young as they are, as young learners as you are, you can already become consultants, because it's a blind spot by the institution that's supposed to handle that concern. Okay, next. Okay, students and teachers have been experiencing the challenges themselves. So I would like to take a look at this in the context of education, because if there are if we're talking about the best people who can solve the problem of education, it's the one who's in it. Okay, so it's definitely the students who are experiencing this virtual setup, the teachers who are trying to run courses the best possible way. They're doing their best to teach their lessons. So in a way, through their experiences, through self-reflection, by using empathy, how are we able to design um, an, a more inclusive learning system? So by just reflecting on the challenges themselves. Okay. Because when you look at in our case, in PhilDev, whenever we ask our university partners around the Philippines, they always tell that mano-mano system, meaning when we developed our own processes, at first it's mano-mano. We ask ourselves, how can we best deliver the courses to the students? Yung iba, they really stuck with modules. Others, they're focused on improving their websites so that it can be more interactive with the students and amongst teachers. So in a way, through crisis, through these challenges, they're able to innovate on their own to deliver the best services. So maybe we should listen to more of these teachers, and students who have been developing these smaller innovations that will eventually influence our future platforms. Next. Okay, pedagogy can be shifted towards developing extension projects, because in the end of the day, since schools are sources of ideas, experiences in delivering curriculum, in approaches in teaching, maybe we can start extending, maybe it's like inception, we are actually extending ways, changing our curriculum for the changes in curriculum. Meaning, since we're talking about education improvement, in a way, even within the process of changing education, it also needs some research on our end. So if we can, let's say, shift our ways, instead of them just memorizing their lessons, maybe think of ways on how their learnings, their projects can be applied to basic education. Let's say, okay, maybe your next project will be focused on developing this app or developing this technology, for easier communication between teachers and students. So it's important to really bridge research and extension, because again, schools are sources of well-researched ideas. Okay, next insight. Still have 5 minutes. Okay, insight number 2. Incubators can implement the lean approach and innovation. So so when you talk about schools having a lot of ideas, researches, how do we apply them? Okay, so in PhilDev, we've conducted incubation trainings. We've also helped universities set up their incubators. Why is that so? Because in specifically in science and engineering, there's so much research. And some of them actually have potential to be made into a startup. Some of them can be adapted by the local government so that it can be mainstreamed. It can be mainstreamed in their processes. They can actually improve it for the use of community. So even in the education system, there's so much to incubate. And when we talk about the lean approach, it means that it's okay to fail. Okay? Failing per se, we can say that, sayang naman, ang budget for that. But when you talk about the lean approach, we're talking about failing even in the smallest prototype. We're creating products because we want to prototype them. We want to test if it will work. we're not going to release the full budget for that research to develop a large prototype. We're going to make a small prototype that can be tested so that we can learn what's the best model for making education inclusive or depending on the problem, no? So that's what incubators do. Okay. So next. So incubators have programs that enable rapid ideating and prototyping. So I myself, I'm a graduate of an incubator in UP. So I've developed a website that will make food more accessible for wala pang Grab nun, no? But I was already thinking of how can we bring organic food to more people, no? So that was way back 2009, 2010. So we incubated, we started developing the website, and well, I didn't pursue that eventually, but when we started, no, we yes, we planned for it, but it's important for us to see how we see a structure of our plans materializing, no? Even in the early phases of planning, we're seeing it being tested already. So that's what the incubators do. Next, they encourage students and researchers to be involved in solution building. So it excites us a lot, actually. No, it's more. I mean, it's not just engages us in. Sorry, it doesn't engage us intellectually only, but also emotionally, because we are becoming more passionate about. Wow, we're not just doing this to make the grade. We're doing this to build a solution for our community. Next. And they provide support in the space for continuous improvement or Kaizen. So whenever we talk to incubators, no, we're asking them to not be too directive in their approach. It's very important for them to allow the students and the teams in the incubator to continue to cultivate their ideas and for them to share their needs, no, for support. And I hope, no, for in developing that new innovation, no, we're able to continue to have that mindset there. Next and lastly, final insight, the Academe can be a center for development innovation. So I've talked about students having ideas, incubators becoming a structure for innovation, but looking at it in a bigger perspective, Academe is not just a place for researches, it's not just a place for learning, but a space wherein we can brew the future, okay? So future developments. So next. The discipline of research and the commitment of the team in producing validated conclusions can be helpful for the public sector in generating feasible options. Because definitely the students have time. I mean, yes, they're making the grade, but in order to make the grade, they have to endure, okay, 2 semesters for research. And given, let's say, a six-month timeline, no, or even more, they're given that certain commitment to focus on that solution, on building a solution for that challenge. So the discipline of it and the commitment, no, will be helpful to generate feasible options. Because the reason why, no, I worked before in the government, and one of the reasons why it's difficult sometimes, no, to develop innovations because there's so much in my plate. I can't focus. So through collaboration, no, it will be great, no, if we can partner, no, in developing that next innovative response. Next. Okay. Next, youth can be tapped to work for local development through research partnerships. Okay. And next, ideas can be enhanced through constant feedback made by the members of the sector. Because definitely, no, we look at the lean approach, always releasing the product, getting feedback, improving based on it. So you can actually get that feedback, no, from the many experts, professionals in the schools, even the students, even the public who are, of course, no, who are part of the research. Let's say if you release a survey or conduct focus group discussions with the technology, the schools can actually analyze it with the public sector partner. So there. So that's a lot. There's a lot of potential in working with the academe. Next. So there, no. So in PhilDev, no, the reason why in our approach, no, in our last project, which concluded 2 months ago, okay, we are saying that okay, in our innovation for social impact project, no, we can say that, okay, yes, we wanted the entrepreneurs to develop their capacity. We wanted to engage government to develop policies to help the entrepreneurs. But it's very crucial that the academe will be involved here. Okay, because in any innovation generation, no, it's important to to not just develop no future knowledge, future innovations, but also develop the future generation. So there. So thank you very much.